Hi, this is David Orlofsky. Welcome to the Parsha in 5, where in 5 minutes we try to give you a little insight into the Parsha that you can use over Shabbos or in your everyday life. Parshas Tetzaveh, you know, from the time that Moshe Rabbeinu is introduced into the Torah in Parsha Shmos until the end of the Torah, there's only one Parsha where his name does not appear. That is Parshas Tetzaveh. That is, of course, an untrue statement. There are a number of Parshios and Devarim where his name does not appear, but that's because he's talking. So he doesn't speak about himself in the third person, right? He will say, and then I, and then I, and then I. But here, he's not speaking. Yeah, only Hashem is speaking, and Moshe's name is never mentioned. Coincidence? Of course not. Yeah. And what's the reason for this? The reason is that in next week's Parsha, when he's fighting for Klal Yisrael, he says, if you do not forgive the Jewish people, erase me from the book that you have written. So Hashem says, okay, I'll erase you. And he takes him out of one parsha. He also forgives the Jewish people, but he also erases him from one parsha because everything that you say is significant. So the question is, if he's going to get erased from one parsha, why Parshas Tetzaveh? So one answer I saw was because he says, Me'sifrecha asher kosavta, so it has to be the parsha that was already written, and the parsha that was written before Kisisa is Tetzaveh. Okay. I asked this once to a group of students, and they said, if you had to be left out of a parsha, wouldn't you choose Tetzaveh? Okay, I could hear that too. So discussing all the Big Day Kahuna does not necessarily thrill it for everybody. I could understand that. But of course, it's more than that, because Moshe is fighting with HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Har Sinai for 7 days. At the end, he finally, after all his arguments are exhausted, he says, listen, between me and you, give it to my brother Aaron. He's the older brother, and I don't want to take it away from him. And Hashem says, don't worry, Aaron is going to become the Kohen. And Rashi says, you were supposed to be the Kohen, and you lost it. You lost it because you are fighting with me for a week. That qualifies you to be the Melech. That qualifies you to be the Manhig. Yes, we have to contend with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Avraham has to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please forgive the people of Stone. You know, maybe there's 50 tzaddik and 40. Sometimes we have to confront Hashem. But that's not a job of Kohen. A Kohen is a shliach. Just do what you're told. Yeah? And that's why later on in the tremendous machlekes between Korach and Moshe, two Leviim fighting it out, yeah, about who's going to be the Kohen Gadol and whether or not Aaron should be the Kohen Gadol, he's not in the story. He doesn't care. I'll be the Kohen Gadol. I won't be the Kohen Gadol. And that's why he tells Moshe, don't worry, Aaron is coming, and he's happy in his heart. And says Rashi, because he was happy in his heart, he got to wear the choshen. Moshe spent an entire week fighting with HaKadosh Baruch Hu so that his brother Aaron should be the manhig, and as a consequence, he lost the kahuna. But it went to his brother, who he was fighting for the whole time. Hine ma tov u'manoyim, sheves achim yachad. Who is that? That is Aaron and Moshe. Where Moshe was so happy for Aaron that he got to be the Kohen, that if Moshe has to step aside, it makes sense for it to be the Aaron Parsha, where Aaron becomes the Kohen Gadol and his children become the Kohanim, and Moshe Rabbeinu steps aside because it's all part of his self-sacrifice for his brother and for Klal Yisrael, which makes him a manhig. And Aaron does the job of being our shliach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's his job. Every one of us has one of those positions. Right? We either are going to be the one who are going to have to contend on behalf of the Jewish people, or be the ones to faithfully carry out whatever Ratzon Hashem is without asking any questions. There will always be this combination. There will be an Aaron and a Chorah. There'll be a Kalev and a Yehoshua who have these two different jobs. As long as we know who we are and we do our job right, Klal Yisrael will be successful. Good Shabbos.